So, Clint, do you know if you walked into a dealership to buy an RV, if you were getting a good deal?
Doesn't
How would
matter.
you know?
They're all smarter than me. All the salesmen are smarter than me. They have tricks, they have ploys, they have plans. They see me coming, and it stresses me out. So, guess what? I don't walk into RV dealerships or any dealership and talk to anybody.
Well, you talk to me every day. You walk in this RV dealership, but I get what you're saying.
You haven't sold me one yet.
You're right. That's true. Well, we're going to talk about both sides of that, what it feels like and what you need to look out for. So y'all stick around.
Welcome to the RV Small Talk podcast, where we talk about lightweight trailers, truck campers, and people, places, and adventures that go right along with them. We're your hosts from Princess Craft RV. I am Clint.
I'm PJ.
And I'm wearing a sweater in May. What the heck was I thinking?
Just too hot.
Too hot.
Too hot.
Are you
She's glitching. It's so hot.
Yeah, I think she's broken.
Folks,
You broke her.
There's a glitch in the Matrix, and it's
Sorry.
happening inside PJ's head.
Y'all know where the joke was going. I'm not going there. I can't get through it.
There's no joke. The sweater is hot. So hot.
If you haven't been with us before on the RV Small Talk podcast, we really do just talk about almost anything. Sometimes it's in-depth and industry stuff, and sometimes it's just lighthearted small talk. But it is all somehow RV related, and we're here just to welcome you to the table, to listen, to talk, to share. So you can find us on social media, RV Small Talk Podcast, or you can find the show notes at rvsmalltalk.com, or you can find us on YouTube at RV Small Talk Podcast. Join us there. In the meantime, let's get into today's topic, which is some of the methods. I don't want to call them tricks or ploys or anything. Some of the methods that you will find dealerships and salespeople using to help you turn the corner, to
Push you
convince
over
you to
the
buy.
edge.
Right?
Push you over the
Or
edge.
to make some money. I mean,
Right.
RV dealerships really exist to be sure that they are profitable.
What business isn't out there I bet there's a business out there that is designed to not be profitable.
Yeah, they're called charities.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, is that a charity?
But they,
I don't think that's called a business.
That's a different-
It's called a charity.
that's a different type of organization.
Yeah, that's true.
The profit
That
is in
true.
the people. They all make Soylent Green.
Oh,
It's people.
man.
Stop.
Is this one of those podcasts where I just need to apologize in advance?
You know, fine. You know, if you do, you boo.
Hey, boo
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about sales people. Like Clint said, we kind of put together this list, not like saying these are bad, slimy sales tactics or these are helpful.
Right.
More of just they exist and
Yeah.
you should probably know about them so that if you walk in to buy an RV, you can walk in and kind of understand what's happening or what might be happening and how to navigate through it.
And I feel like whenever anyone in the world is trying to sell us something, we look at them from an adversarial standpoint. And it simply is what percentage of the job market out there of people who are employed in the world are in the business of sales in one shape or form or the other.
Right.
And it is a little bit of an emotional game or a mind game or philosophical, whatever, philosophical.
Yeah, I think that's true.
It's all involved because human brains are involved.
Well, I think there's two things at play here.
Okay.
It's pretty simple to me.
I'm simple.
The first thing is money. Whenever you're giving someone a large sum of money
And they're asking for it.
and trying to get you to part with it, whether it's noble or not, then there is a lot of emotion and expectation
Sure.
that goes into that, and trust, and just trying to sort that out. I worked really hard for all this money. What do I want to exchange that for? So that's the first piece.
Right.
And the second piece is I think people just feel like everybody in the room knows something they don't.
Right.
And that's the feeling of being sold, is when somehow they get one over on you, or they know. So there's got to be a catch here. They know something you don't. Right. So I think this is really good to just maybe show people what's happening on the other side of the curtain.
Do you think we in the Western world have even more of an angst against the process because we don't haggle as much. Like we hear terms.
we are not raised to haggle.
Yeah,
That's
we don't
true.
barter, we don't haggle, and we have terms, actual sales tools called no haggle pricing because of how uncomfortable that makes us. We aren't
good
raised in
point.
that. I'm wondering if we have more problem here than elsewhere.
So do you think cultures that haggle get better prices?
I think Westerners who go to more haggling environments get worse prices because we don't haggle. We aren't skilled in it. We don't enjoy the play. I've been in places, or I've heard of places, where if you don't go back and forth, if you just accept that first price, it's actually offensive because you didn't play the game.
Oh,
You didn't meet the culture where they
dear.
are. The culture, and it might be a roadside shop or something like that in some other country,
a fruit stand.
And if you don't play the game, then you haven't engaged them in part of the fun of their career, of their work life, of their business life.
Well, that would be interesting. That is certainly not what's happening here.
No. Agreed.
So, what's the first thing that we're going to talk about here? Let's jump in. So if you walk into a dealership and you're like, I already kind of looked and know what I want.
Right.
What's the first thing you ask?
Where's the restroom?
Yeah, that pretty much is the first question
as a
everybody
buyer
has
or
when they come here, isn't it?
What are you
It's
trying
right
to
over there
get
to
us
the right.
to say?
Yeah, well, the first thing you want to know is how much does it cost, right?
Do you have any?
Sure.
Do you have what I want?
Okay, do you have what I want?
Right.
But then, oh yeah, I saw it right out there. Okay, well, how much is it?
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So, how do you know what to do with that price?
Where are you going with this? Help us
No,
out.
I don't know. I mean,
there's a whole
on
sheet
our
in front of
list,
you.
selling on payment instead of price. So when you start with a price, it's like, how do I know if that's a good price or not?
Yeah.
What's the way you check that?
So you're trying to tease out all the details. Let's say you ask, what's the price? And then they're going to present either this is MSRP or this is our sales price or here's what you'll be making payment. They'll present something.
There are humans in the world who will never pay whatever price you put out first,
Right.
even if it is the very best deal on the planet.
Right. Right. Because they come at it from a natural distrust of, or, well, if that's your price, then you have a set take and I need to come underneath that. Yeah. I need a deal. Even if that is a deal, that's the first number. I need a deal on that deal.
Okay. So, yeah, you got a price. Some people ask the price, but they don't really care what the price is. What do they care about?
Their payment.
Yeah. They care about their payment because they're like, oh, I mean, last time we looked for a car, Lindsay and I were out there shopping and, the idea of here's where the payment is now. Can I get something that's in that same payment range?
Yes. I think that's pretty common.
But it's different with RVs because they are financed differently. So I think saying, I think the biggest thing here is just knowing what your budget is before you walk in. So you don't get stuck in the, I can make it this monthly payment. Because, the interest rates are higher. So as long as you just know what your budget is and go in with that and focus on the price of the RV and that the monthly doesn't go over what you wanted it to. Sorry, I was trying.
She's trying to work with that big sweater she's wearing.
It's so hot in here.
Sorry. So that's always the first thing. What's the cost of it? How do you know that's a good price? Well, what would you do to check your price?
So is it a sale? That's kind of the same thing. Like people don't trust salespeople, right? It seems like there's a instant distrust with whatever price they put out there.
Absolutely.
So what we hear a lot here is, I found one down the street that's cheaper, or I found one across the country that's cheaper. Can you give me that price? And I think my advice with this sales tactic is just to make sure if you're going to compare, which I think everybody should, everybody wants to get the best deal. But when you compare, something that goes wrong a lot is people don't compare apples to apples.
And they don't know it
Right.
because it's actual apples to apples, but it's different variations. One's a Jazz, one's a Granny Smith.
I mean, there's
One's
all
a Ruby
kinds
Red.
of packages, options, colors.
What country of origin did it come from?
Yeah, where did it go, and how much is the freight? I mean, so a lot of times we'll see customers compare and say, well, this one's cheaper, so I'm going to go there and get it. Well, then they go there and get it, and it doesn't have half the stuff that the other one
And it could
did.
be a real surprise thing. Like the only thing visibly different and on the sheet is that one number in front of the air conditioner. One is an 11,000 or 11,500
Right.
and one's a 13. And you might miss that, but it might be important to you. And the price, you know,
Or making sure the model year is the same. You know, they'll just type in the type of RV and then one will come up, be a lot cheaper. Well, it's because it's been sitting on their lot for a year and a half. So
what other things usually catch people when the things that people miss when they're doing their diligence, they're trying to compare apples to apples. What is missed regularly?
Well, dealerships are only going to advertise their actual price.
Okay.
They're not going to give you the drive out price unless you ask.
right. And that is another one on the list, is like when salespeople refuse to give you the real price, which I think happens at car dealerships too. But you know how like when what is the price of this RV? Oh, it's X amount of dollars. And then you get to sign the paperwork and they're like this and this and this. So some of the things they add on are like show out fees, like to show you how it works. Sometimes that costs money.
The battery, the propane,
The battery
starter kit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even like dealer prep fees, like them going through it on their own. Sometimes
Right.
they charge you for that.
Do you know some dealers even add on the extended service plan automatically?
Well, car dealerships do that.
But I sure try.
Do you remember the one
Yep.
that told us, oh, that $1,700 fee, that's just standard, that everybody has to pay that.
But I didn't.
But you
But
don't.
you didn't.
So-
because you said no.
That's
everybody doesn't.
Yeah. So that's kind of the same thing with buying an RV, is be sure you're asking your salesperson, I want the full price. Make sure, does anything need to be done to my vehicle? Do I need a hitch? Do I need wiring? Do I need anything like
If
that?
it's a truck camper, is it going to need tie downs?
Yeah.
What about airbags? You know, so you
all
need
the
to know.
stuff that is needed and anything they're going to charge you. And if the salesperson is struggling or refusing to give you a price of everything that same thing you're going to see when you go to the finance office, then that might be a little bit of a,
what's going on
like
here?
a red flag of what's happening.
So-
but
And very often they will, salespeople, and it may be legitimate, but they will say, oh, yeah, we'll email that to you. No problem. Yeah, we'll get that off to you. They're busy, but we'll put it all together and we'll send out the paperwork to you. Well, you've already signed saying you're going to buy it. They're hoping you're going to not be scrutinizing it too much later on. So all those fees can really add up.
So definitely take a look and find out for yourself. Do your homework. Is it fair? And I believe it is, but is it always fair, whether it be RV or elsewhere, to say what's the outdoor or over the curb price?
yes.
It is always fair to say, can you please give me the out the door price?
Right. And that's all fees line itemed so you can decide what you want to do.
That's right.
It's your money until it's not your money.
That's right. And that salesman is working for you until you have all your questions answered.
Right. And that's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. And they should be nice and friendly and help you with all of that. So,
What do they call that? Fiduciary, where they're working on your behalf? Is that what they call it?
I don't know what they call it.
What? That sounds like a pasta.
That has to do with more money, I think.
Yeah, well, this is money.
I think
RV buying's money.
I think we're
It's just-
showing our ignorance
No,
here.
I think that's an investing term and whatnot.
Clint knows what he's talking about. Look at him.
However, I think that the notion is the same: is that they should be on your side and looking out for your best interest.
Absolutely. But they also get paid in a certain way. So salespeople are paid all different ways,
Bagels.
depending on where they work. Usually they might get bagels, but they probably get some cash too.
Bagels and
cashews.
Cashews and bagels.
So
No,
I'm trying to move on, and you're just keep talking about bagels.
Yeah, well, I'm hungry. They can be on a salary where they don't make any commission for selling you anything. Those usually aren't the best salespeople,
Not as
just
motivated?
because they're not as motivated, but they're also not eager to help you. They are just answering your questions and not providing extra information.
They're just kind of biding their time.
It just seems to work out that way. It's the humans that have that job. But commission salespeople, sometimes they're full commission, in which case they're going to do everything they can to convince you that that's the one for you. So you're going to want to watch out for your own interests. Some of them are half and half. You know, they get a base pay, but then they get a little extra bump. And also, what some people don't know is that manufacturers might have a little extra money for the salespeople if they sell their product over another one.
That sounds spiffy.
Yeah, that's what they call it. So if you're looking at two similar units and the salesman is really pushing you towards one of them and you don't know why, prices are similar, features are similar, that might be why. It might be because they get a little bit of money for selling one manufacturer and maybe none or not as much for the other, because commission salespeople are very aware of that, and you need to be too.
Can you ask?
I guess you could ask. I mean,
are you getting a spiff for this?
Honestly, as long as you buy the one that you believe in
Right.
and that you like the best.
Yeah.
A quick tip. I know Lindsay is going to roll her eyes because I'm kind of
Prepare your
going
eyes.
around the block. But people forget to go in a trailer and buy the one they like.
Ooh,
They get so in the weeds with money and details and how many it sleeps and
Right.
this kitchen is bigger and you get more storage here and all those things are important. How much it weighs, how long it is,
But
what color it is.
don't rule out.
But when
what
it
do you-
comes down to it,
Yeah.
walk into the one and buy the one that's within all those parameters that you really like.
I like that. I really like that.
I'm so glad you like that,
I
Clint.
think we should have T-shirts. Buy the one you like.
That's
that'd
exactly
be a good
right.
T-shirt.
Hey, what if you have a trade-in?
You should trade it in.
Hey, you have it in here.
No, I don't.
It is on your list. Absolutely, you do.
Where?
You want me to show you?
Where?
Hold on. We're having a fight over what's in the list.
Do you want your paper
Where?
back?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I can just read off hers. Oh, Clint.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was in there.
It's not in here.
Okay, but it is important.
Okay.
And let me tell you why.
Oh, let's hear it.
Let me tell you why. So, when you walk into a dealership, you have an idea whether you want to put some money down, right? You might say, "Hey, man, could we afford it? I don't
man.
know.
Hey, man.
Maybe we
Hey,
could put
man.
$500 down."
Dave's not here. I don't know, man.
Hey, man.
So maybe you walk in and you say, "I just want to put $10,000 down and I want to pay this off as quick as I can."
Yeah.
You could be on the other end and saying, "Can I buy it without putting anything down?" So, whenever you walk into a dealership, one of the first things a car salesman is going to ask you, and maybe an RV salesman as well, is, "So how much do you want to pay every month?" They assume you want to finance because most people do.
It's so
And if
common.
you say, "I don't know, I just want to find what I like," great. Do you have a budget? What do you want to spend?
Right.
And you say, this much. And then they say,
And some people don't like that, but the fact is they're trying to be cognizant of your time.
yeah, narrow it
Trying
down.
to respect your time. How about we not show you things that don't fit what you're going to hopefully buy?
That's right. So then they might ask you, "Okay, well, we got a price range." And then they'll say, "Do you have a trade-in?" And they'll always ask you if you have a trade-in because that's how they figure out pricing.
Can I ask? Mm-hmm. Because I've seen this and I've heard this even around here. Well, I have a boat, or I got an old Chevy C10.
Some dealerships will take them, some won't.
Jet ski? Snowmobile,
I do.
Oversized panda stuffed animal.
go-kart.
Yes, no, yes. Yes,
A hot dog machine.
absolutely. Nope. I got one of those. We got one of those. So,
Slightly used reverse osmosis water system.
This
okay.
sock.
Okay. So trading, what you're saying, we're typically talking about another RV. However, some RV dealerships will work in other items.
They will. Absolutely. And so, whatever your trade in is, the way this thought process is, and some do it actually on paper, is called a Foursquare. So,
car
this is
dealerships
how
love this.
managers and RV dealers figure out how to have some profit somewhere in the deal. Somewhere. It may not be in the sales price, it may be in the trade in. So, if your trade-in price is what you really, really, really are interested in, I could maybe charge you a little more for buying this trailer, and then I could give you what you wanted for your trade-in because I had extra money in the deal.
Right.
So the object of the game is, what are you paying after you pay your trade-in? So if I give you $20,000, but I charge you $30,000, you're paying $10,000 for this trailer plus your trade-in. So if you're comparing that to the next dealer, will you pay more or less than that $10,000?
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that matters. It's not what they pay you for your trade-in.
Yeah.
But some people get so hyper focused on, no, I owe 20 on this. I need 22 for it. Well, I'll give you 22 for it. No problem. But I'm not going to give you a discount over here.
Right.
Now, they don't tell you that. They just ask you all the questions and then come back with numbers.
Right.
So you need to be aware that if you say, no, I want more for my trade-in, they're going to take it back and they're going to adjust the numbers. They might even adjust the sales price.
And it's not, and I know it sounds like they're trying to get something over you, but the fact is, it's not a viable business if they can't make money.
It's not always malicious. They just have to figure it out.
And they're trying to help you get into what you want and get out of what you no longer want.
And then they'll work on monthly payment. So monthly payment buyers are the most at risk here.
Okay.
Because they can make it a longer term loan. They can do all kinds of things to get you within your monthly payment and still charge you a pretty high price for the trailer. So be aware that those are the four things they'll be looking at: the price for the trailer, how much you're putting down, the trade-in, and the monthly payment. So what you need to focus on is, what are you paying for this trailer?
Right.
What is the actual number you're paying for the trailer?
Right.
And if you keep your focus on that and then make the rest of it fit your parameters, you will have a good deal.
I feel like knowing your personal priorities and financial philosophy really helps here, because maybe it is about your payments, or maybe it's more like what's the real value over the course of ownership and payment. Because if that's what you really are worried about, then having low payments over a 15-year span actually makes that a pretty expensive purchase.
Pretty expensive trailer, yeah.
So I feel like if you know yourself and what your personal priorities are, and you can make peace with yourself on that, then you can go in pretty confident in how you want to have these conversations. It's those of us who walk in, and I'm very guilty of this, those of us who walk in with starry eyes looking just for something cool.
Well, you start to get excited, and then if they say the right number, you're like, okay, wait, I think I could do that. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from all of this, is just know what you want and how much you want to pay for it before you go in. So that way you're not so easily swayed by the, whatever you see that's pretty or whatever number they give you.
Right. And if you know your own methodology and what works for you, then you'll be better to spot when someone else is speaking in from a different angle or perspective. And I do have a question for Lindsay because of this car buying experience, and maybe for both of you. Oh, okay. So here's a question.
Right.
Is it worthwhile to have someone along with you so you can play good cop, bad cop?
Good cop, bad cop. I don't know.
Nice customer. not nice customer.
I think it's nice to have somebody go with you just to kind of keep you grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
it's good to take your mom because this is a person who used to ground you.
Or remind you of what you actually want before you came in here and what your actual budget was before you walked in.
Yeah. I mean, your head starts spinning.
Yeah,
you kind of get lost in the experience. It's euphoric in a way.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, buying cool things is fun.
And scary.
Yeah.
Like I'll
All
do
the
it.
above.
I'll buy an expensive thing and then I'll feel sick.
And then some people are so excited they buy it and then they go home and go, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
So I don't know. A good salesman is going to help you through all this. They are going to ask you all these questions.
Okay.
And they are going to, want to know what payment you want and, if you have a trade in.
Yeah.
All of those questions. But some of that will help them determine what you can buy and where you can go.
Sure.
But it will also, you have to be aware, it will help them to adjust the price of that trailer.
So if you're listening or watching on YouTube, we just lost Lindsay, not for any horrible reason. She has to get to dance lessons because if you've seen her TikToks, yes, Princess Craft has TikTok, she dances and she would like to improve her skills just a little bit. Maybe she's actually taking her daughter to dance lessons.
Maybe it's for the 5-year-old. It just could be the 5-year-old's
She's
dance
a 5-year-old
class.
at heart.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. There is something else that is on our list that Lindsay made our list, by the way. I'm sorry she can't finish
she's
this with
leaving
us.
us.
Yeah, I know.
She printed in this tiny font.
But she did bring up something that I think is a very valid point. Some strategies for salespeople to sell to you is to limit what they're going to show you. Did you know that?
Didn't we kind of hit on this a little bit by them asking first off what your budget is?
Yeah, but I mean, they're often written in the rules of how to deal with people coming in to shop to limit them to 2 or 3 trailers.
I will only show you 2 or 3.
Yeah, I will show you. Here's the 2 or 3 that will work for you. What do you think? And then you start asking what they call closing questions, like, hey, which one do you like the best? Okay, will that fit in your budget? We could do this for the $389 a month that you talked about. Let's go see what that looks like. And they take you in to sit down. So
is this the category of things that customers might not appreciate?
They might not appreciate it, but I think a lot of customers won't know any better. They think those are the 3 that they have that are within their budget and within their parameters, when most of the time that's simply not true. But that does 2 things. It keeps the customer from getting confused between all these different brands, and it makes that sale go much faster because the salesman needs to be available for the next person that walks in.
Right.
So it accomplishes both of those things. It is a very common sales tactic.
Tactics. Yeah.
That word, particularly in the large dealerships. Now, guys, I am not saying that large dealerships are not good to shop at. I'm just saying
they have products you want to see.
Yes, and they'll have a lot of them.
Right.
So just be aware that you are in charge of your shopping experience.
Right. You should feel, in some sense, foundationally, in some sense of control. If you feel like you're losing control, slow it down a little.
That's right.
And if a salesperson gets upset about it, then that should inform you as well.
Absolutely. And it is perfectly okay to say, can I take that quote with me? And they should be able to let you do that.
Mm-hmm. And it's fair on their end to say, that quote's good for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And take your leave. Get some space. Clear your head. Take your time.
And compare pricing. Don't compare payments. Compare the price of the unit. That's how you know you're getting a good deal.
In the format that you understand and are good with working with, whether it be price at sales time, price over the years of the loan, or payments, whatever makes sense to you, you need to compare that apples to apples.
That's right. You know what, Clint? It just occurred to me that we sound awfully like this is a difficult thing to do, that it can be a terrible experience, that you really need to defend yourself. And, it should be a fun experience. So, one of the things I tell people is if you go in to shop somewhere and you're not having fun, just back it up and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
This should be fun.
Yeah.
You should enjoy it. You should get to see lots of cool trailers. And that is, life is too short. Mm-hmm. Have some fun. I think Lindsay summed up the very last thing that we need to talk about on her sheet perfectly. So can I read it? Because I don't think I can do it quite as good as she did. She said, review, review, review. It's always a good idea to give your dealership an honest review on Google, Facebook, or Yelp after the purchase. As a buyer, it is so nice to read other people's experiences when buying. Although not all reviews can be trusted, people are bonkers. Yes, that's what she wrote. People are bonkers. You can get a general idea of if the dealership is going to have honest practices or not. If you like reading reviews before going somewhere, don't forget to contribute by leaving a review yourself.
Right.
And I think that is just a gracious thing to do, particularly if you have good service. People generally don't leave reviews unless for some reason they're mad and vengeful. But golly, it's a nice thing to do when someone has taken hours out of their day to help you.
Right. So get yourself on a day when you have the time. Maybe be, fueled up, a nice meal or something like that, and relax, control your time, your experience. It's all yours until you pass over responsibility and ownership of it. You get say, if you feel like someone is not allowing that, until they have your money and name on documents and all that, it really needs to stay in your field.
You can make anything happen.
Absolutely.
Then. You can back it up.
Approach it your way.
You can ask for it to be delivered earlier.
Yep.
Just, I probably say this way too often, but just be a good human and have a good experience. We've given you some tips on how to know if you're getting a good price and how to understand all the questions and the process that's coming at you when you're trying to buy something. And hopefully that will help you feel more confident. That was our goal.
Yeah, very good. I might even consider buying a trailer from you. No, I won't.
You think?
No, I get to use the trailers you have here. It's going to be hard to sell me whenever I get to just ask you if I can take one out.
Well, I recommend you spend your money on something that you don't get for free.
That's a good takeaway too.
Yes. So maybe I need to see if anybody wants a job. We do have great perks here, but if not, you're going to have to buy your own trailer and go camping.
Yep. I can vouch for that. All right. Is that pretty much it for this episode?
I think we've covered the bases. Let's not beat people up anymore. Let's just let them go enjoy their day and think about the next RV they want to buy.
Sure. Everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of the RV Small Talk Podcast. You can find us, if you just do a Google search for RV Small Talk Podcast, you will find our website with our show notes, but you'll also find us on social media, RV Small Talk Podcast, and on YouTube if you want to see what we look like when we're speaking these words. There we are, YouTube, RV Small Talk Podcast. Don't forget that we do host a few rallies each year. We have the next one coming up in the fall. That's the fall edition of the Texas Tiny Trailer Rally. We just had a really great spring one a couple weeks ago. We would love to see you in Bandera in October. Look it up. The dates are there. And that's a large part of what we have to close with. Anything else?
Well, if you happen to be in Round Rock or in Houston, stop by Princess Craft RV. Check out some cool trailers, even if you're not in the market, and just have a cup of coffee with us.
That'll work. And if you, by chance, are near your computer or your phone, even if you do not listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, you can go on Apple Podcasts through your browser and leave us a review. You can rate us with 5 stars, hopefully, and leave us a review, and that really helps us out. We do appreciate it.
We gave people a lot of things to do at the end of this podcast, didn't we?
So many things.
I hope y'all are making a list.
Checking it twice. Be naughty, not nice. Just kidding. Okay. Everybody, thank you again, and we will see you in the next episode of the RV Small Talk podcast. Bye.
Bye.